October 2015 Drought Monitoring Workgroup call. And this is Dave Dubois down in Las Cruces. And let's go around the call and introduce yourself.
This is Raymond Abeto of Bureau Reclamation. Morning.
Maureen Mathern, USGS.
Ollie Reed, Albuquerque Journal.
This is Ryan
Dave Severall, Western Regional.
Chris Romero, NRCS Snow Survey.
Hi, Dave. This is Victor Murphy from Weather Service Southern Region Headquarters.
Anybody else online?
I'm here, Chuck Jones, along with Sean, NYC, Holly, and June from the State Engineer's Office in Santa Fe.
All right. Sorry, I forgot to put your name on the Weather Service report, Chuck, but
That's okay.
you're there.
It's been 6 months.
I just
forgot me about that.
No. No, I'm very much appreciated. Okay, so everybody's who wanted to announce yourself is good. So let's go ahead and get started with the National Weather Service report with Chuck Jones giving the presentation in Albuquerque.
All right, thanks, Dave. Good to be back. It's been 6 months almost to the day. I was involved in a severe accident with a drunk driver who got in my way. So I'll just say it's great to be back and feeling pretty good finally. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started here. So far this month, obviously raining pretty good. Southeast half of the state doing much better than the northwest half, but that this is actually just through the 19th, not the 20th. So it's a day and a half or so old. But yeah, looking down here, bottom right, departure from normal. Obviously, again, showing the southeast doing very well, southeast half basically. Not quite so good in the northwest half. Statewide precipitation, 64% of normal in September. And that obviously was not very good, 0.6 of an inch below normal. How's that rank? 37th driest, so it was a pretty dry month. Obviously not nearly as good as the last 2 years, as we all remember, especially 2 years ago, was record-setting in a lot of ways. And if we break it down here a little bit more, just here in New Mexico, 126% of normal for the calendar year so far. So despite August and especially September, with the monsoon kind of waning a bit in places, we're still doing pretty good for the year, with many areas obviously near to above normal, pockets of 160 to 200% of normal over the northwest, and a little spot down here near Socorro as well. So how's that rank? That's tied for the 11th wettest on record. We're basically 3 inches above normal statewide average. So again, 120%, 26% of normal. Pretty darn good, especially when you put it in perspective of the last 4 or 5 years. The water year is now done, and we ended up with a statewide average of 118%. Not quite as good, obviously, as the calendar year, but again, we'll take it compared to recent years. And again, you can see the Northeast here doing the best with up to 200% of normal. And that ranks as the 23rd wettest on record, about 2.5 inches above normal. So again, we'll take that pretty much any day or any year. And of course, the 12-month end, as we usually show, it's exactly the same. So it's one time where everything will be the same. 24 months, not as good. 1.38 inches above normal, 40th wettest on record. It's still good to see it above normal. And 36 months, again, not quite as good, just a half an inch above normal. 51st wettest on record. But looking at the recent 4 or 5 years, we'll take it. And then, again, as we go into the 4 and 5 year periods, we start to see the long-term drought raise its ugly head with the 40th driest in 4 years and 14th driest in 5 years, with over 8 3/4 inches below normal. So, again, short term, we're doing pretty good now. We still have long-term problems, and I'm sure we'll see that in the when we get to seeing some of the reports in the dams and the various lakes, rivers. So I'm just going to show the 1 month change here. Obviously, pretty good across the southeast half of the state. Not so in the northwest half, but overall, pretty darn good. And this was as of 2 days ago. If we pulled up the one for today, it would look even better. So, the regional drought, to get an idea of what's going on across the west. We're still looking at the west coast, the western states, in big time problems still. While we've had improvement across the Rocky Mountain areas the past several months. And again, just an 8% moderate drought. I think that was the same as a month ago. Just a little bit moderate drought here in the northwest, west central, close to the border. So, compared to 3 months ago, obviously better. An improvement across the west. We lost again. We lost that severe drought. It's been 4.5 years that we've had severe drought until recently. No extreme drought since March 3rd. So things are looking up. Let's see how they're going to look down the road. Is that going to continue? On the left here is a 3-month loop of the weekly sea surface temperatures, and on the bottom loop here is the anomalies, or departures from normal. Sea of red, so to speak. Everything is looking steady, good, strong El Nino. And over here, the last 4 weeks, the anomalies very solidly running above normal. See here, the same story, the El Nino 3.4 region that we focus on. We're in the midst of a 2.4 Celsius, most recent. Very impressive. And of course, CPC forecasters and all the models now are basically, sticking with their El Nino conditions through at least the winter, if not into the spring. And it's pretty much the same as we've seen the last month or two. Same story here, Pluma models here, continuing to show strong El Nino through the winter. And we can expect that to continue in the terms of precipitation, strong signal for above normal precipitation for November, while temperatures, no real strong signal, maybe trending toward below normal across the far south. Still looks good for November, December, and January as we head into winter. Strong signal for above normal precipitation, especially across the south. This is a very classic El Nino, especially strong El Nino, when southern New Mexico tends to do better, at least in terms of departures from normal, than northern New Mexico, but the entire state usually does pretty darn well. Trending toward perhaps below normal temperatures, as you might expect if there's a lot of days that are cloudy, enhanced precip, and that's going to be the case, at least for the highs. And if we just skip ahead a month to December, January, and February, strong signal for above normal precipitation. And even the spring, also fairly strong indications for above normal precipitation across the state. In this case, especially in the north, March, April, and May. Seasonal outlook, what little bit of drought we have out in the northwest, west central, expected to go bye-bye during the course of the winter. Threw this in, dug this up from when we used to look at things like this, and this is for just strong El Nino events since the 20th century. Very solidly in the winter and especially in the spring. Above normal precipitation likely across the entire state. And you can see that it's the southern areas that tend to do the best. This is for all divisions. Okay, that is it, other than a discussion of what we might want to do the following week or weeks with the drought monitor. Threw this in here now. We're looking at this a little different, just to see what we have with CD1 and 4, the places where we have some moderate drought. Had some 3-month below normal averages here, but if we look at the last 6 months, CD1 is doing very well, and climate division 4 here is right close to normal. We may want to discuss, or is there problems in the northern mountains here with the climate division 2, where we're only around 60% of normal over the last 3 months. Try to get it back. There we go. So, and I'll open up for discussion for anyone else who wants to chime in.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. Yeah, it looks like on the east side we've got quite a bit of rain. I'm just looking at, pulled up to Kokoraz this morning, and about 2 inches through Curry, Roosevelt, a lot of big chunks of Chavez. So less issue over there. But yeah, you bring up a good point, Chuck, with Climate Division 2, looking at the 30-day, you have to go all the way back to, you're saying 180-day to get above 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, hey David, this is Victor. In fact, prior to seeing the graph we see on the screen right now, I was going to suggest to the group that maybe we should have connected the D0 areas there between Colfax County and I guess
Taos.
Rio Arriba County.
Yeah, they're looking at Taos. There's a gap there with Colfax. We've got a few snowtail. Is that right, Chris, up there in that area?
Yeah, there's actually 2 snowtail sites up in Taos Canyon, and then there's one up north of Taos at Cherie by Costilla.
Right.
And then there's one at Red River as well, and on the ski resort. So there's about 4 of them.
Probably snowing in some of those places this morning.
Yeah, I haven't checked this morning. I have to take a look when we're done here or while we're talking and and see if it got cold enough for snow. But yeah, we should be getting close.
Oh yeah, there was the snow in Ski Santa Fe, all the way down to there. But mostly above, around 11,000 and higher.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
at
I'll check.
yeah, I'm looking at Kachina and Chair 4 webcam, and it's snowing at the ski house. Not a lot at the base.
No.
It's just starting to snow there, but up on the higher peaks, yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine up above 10,000 feet or so, you're going to start to see snow. I'm going to look at the Powderhorn site, which is on the ski resort right now while we're
Okay.
talking, and just see what it's showing.
Sounds good. We need to look more at the 30-day. Looks like, I mean, if you look at the precip patterns from the gridded maps, you can see these swaths, starting from Katrin going all the way up to Southern Union, and it didn't look like a lot of those over the last month have hit the northern New Mexico, mainly the eastern third triangle, starting from Otero, going all the way up to Quay. So that's an area we need to look. And like Victor mentioned, that we may want to look at connecting that zero area up with the rest of the state, the western side.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
Yeah, David, I was thinking connecting the D0, from that's currently in Rio Arriba County, connecting it through, I guess it's Taos County, to the D0. It's in Colfax County.
Yeah. Is there anybody from the El Paso office on the call? I know they're getting ready. They have a weather briefing at 11 a.m., so maybe they're busy with that. Okay. Because it's been fairly dry in the southwest. There's some few pockets, a few areas where they had some good precip above normal, but we were looking at just as one area, but that area on I-10 as you go into Arizona, that was pretty dry. We're still seeing. Yesterday we saw some dust, some short, brief dust storms on the playa out there. So that's a sign of fairly dry in that area. And that's in far Hidalgo County. So normal. So any other observations for looking at the drought monitor? How about the far northwest corner? Anything with San Juan? Because we already have a D1 in that area. It looks like the Chusca Mountains are in D0. That little yellow area. Okay. Well, the main thing for today is just the connecting up, looking more into the Snowtel and looking at the connecting the Colfax D0 with Rio Arriba. I think we've got agreement on that one. All right. So if we have any other ideas for this week's drought monitor, we can discuss it later. Let's go on with.
Hey, Dan?
Yeah. Go ahead. Is this Victor?
This is Victor. One other quick suggestion I had, and you're probably in a better position to gauge this, perhaps based on the Rio Grande stream flows, etc., and perhaps Elephant Butte reservoir levels. But Just looking at the observed precip, say, for the last 9 days or so, it would seem like we could perhaps eliminate some of the D0 in Sierra County and Socorro counties. It looked pretty wet.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the. They've got some good.
There'll be the two suggestions I would have. Be deterioration in CD2, like you were talking about. Maybe some improvements there. Maybe even Valencia County. The Valencia, Socorro, and Sierra counties, maybe some improvement in that D0.
Yeah. Okay. Well, take a look at that. Yeah, I'm just looking at the 30-day percent of normal map. If when it refreshes here, I'm looking at there are a few areas that are way above average in Socorro County and Sierra. Okay. But we still have very, very low conditions in both in the lower Rio Grande storage, and we'll hear about that maybe from Raymond. All right, are you ready, Raymond?
I'm ready.
All right.
And by the way, glad you're doing better, Chuck. That's horrible.
Thank you.
I'll start on the Rio Grande. Potoro is 14,725. Heron, 85,101. Novato, 73,832. Abiquiu, 146,092. Cochiti, 47,199. Allison Butte, I'm sorry, is way off. It's showing 694,000 acre feet. That's not right. Caballo, 24,634. And the Pecos, Santa Rosa, 101,611. Sumner, 30,628. And Bradley, 25,231. So on the Rio Grande, like they were showing, the heavier rains earlier in the summer were really helping us out quite a bit. Things did dry up quite a bit, and we were going through quite a bit of water. So today, with these rains and everyone pretty much just winding down on the irrigation, the district was finally able to shut their release and storage off this morning. We did the same for the supplemental water for the minnow. We'll see how this rain affects the river. It kind of affected Cochiti a little bit, but a little water in there to help us just a couple of days. Rio Puerto is running, which that'll help us from Santa Casia south. And we'll see if any of these heavy rains that we saw in the Middle Valley get to the river, and they'll hopefully prop the river up for the next few days. But otherwise, just winding the season down. Just a week and a half to go. On the Pecos, we've had a lot of help for the rains. We haven't had to release any water, any supplemental for the Shiner. The Vaughn pumps, we just used a couple days here and there and had to shut them off because of more rains. So the flows are really nice. The river's connected. And like Chuck said, we'll take that any old time. And we will after the last few years. It's been horrible the last few years. But, boy, this year's been a real nice relief. So they got a little bit more water again in Santa Rosa, just every so often, these rains. So I'm sure they'll probably make a little more room there for any kind of rain event they may have. We got the water out of Bradley, got it sent to Texas, so that's done. So we'll see if we have another fall or rain event like we had the last couple of years. But otherwise, doing really well. Just winding the season down. A week and a half to go for irrigation. It's been a good season. That's all I have, unless anyone has questions.
Raymond, Ollie Reed with the Albuquerque Journal. Could you give me the reservoir totals on Heron and Elvado one more time, please?
Sure. Aaron, 85,101, and Evado, 73,832.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And it. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you, Raymond. Yeah, I was trying to find the Elephant Butte as well. I'm on the Army Corps website, and it looked like it's not updated either.
So this is Molly. The number that we got from yesterday for Elephant View was 172,000 acre feet.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be more like it there.
Great, thank you.
I mean, it'd be nice to see that kind of inflow into Elephant Butte.
Yeah, really.
Really
Yeah.
nice.
Hey, Molly, Molly, what was that figure again that you had for Elephant Butte?
Well, it's rounded off, but 172,000 acre feet,
Thank you.
and that was from, I think, yesterday.
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one last month for our drought monitor call. I think we had 167. So there's been some input. since
Yeah, they
then.
must have had some major glitch or lightning or something going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, knock the system up.
Okay, any questions for Raymond other than the reservoir level for Elephant Butte? We're good? Sounds like we're good. Well, thank you again. Moving on to the next item in our agenda, we've got Chris Romero with NRCS. You still
Sure.
on?
I don't have a whole lot. Once again, we're kind of moving into the snow season. I did go ahead and look at a bunch of the sites that you were kind of asking about, just for, I guess, informational purposes. It's probably snowing on Kachina Peak a little bit. My site sits below that at about 11,000 feet, and I saw a temperature of 31 degrees last night. So it's just on the edge there. So you're probably going to see some snow up on top. I don't know if it's going to stick around though. It's warming up during the day, and it's going to melt off. Cherie, which is up by Costilla Creek, north of Cuesta, I got about an inch as of last night, and the temperature is down in the low 30s. So that tends to get a decent amount of snow in the winter as well. And then Santa Fe is, I'm not showing anything. It could be snowing up on the peak. My site's it's almost to the top there. It's 11,400 feet, and it's down in the low 30s at night. So we're right on the edge. And then Rio Santa Barbara, which is towards the Truchas, is not showing anything right now as well, and about 34 degrees at night. So, we're just a few degrees away from freezing at most points at the low point. So, a few more weeks, so the temperatures keep dropping and the rain keeps coming. I think we'll see some accumulation of snow, hopefully. I don't know if anybody has any questions about any of those sites or what's happening this winter.
I think I'm looking at the Prism first 20 days of the October. It's been, if that's right, it's been about 7 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit above average. So it's been pretty warm at the upper elevations.
Yeah, it's been pretty warm lately. I'm hoping to see that start to drop off as we move into November. Start seeing some of these below average temperatures. The El Nino effect with the above average precip and below average temps. So I'm hoping to see some of that as we move into the winter months.
And by the way, someone reported all the roads east of Chamo were covered in snow yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
So they're getting snow in the Chamo area.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't look at that one.
Good news.
Yeah, it depends on where my site is. It could be, if it's not snowing directly at my site, I'm not going to register it.
All right.
Yeah, I could look that up as well.
Yeah, it's nice to have those DOT cams sometimes to look at what's going on. All
Yeah,
right.
you know, you see some weird stuff out there where it's snowing in one place, and then, you know, a couple miles apart, it's not snowing at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have. I'll have more slides and everything prepared as I actually have some better data to provide you as we move into the water year.
Okay.
And I have snow starting to accumulate.
So at least right now, there's looks sort of like a delay in the snow a bit with the warm temperatures. We may have precip at the higher elevations, but it's not falling in the form of snow. And if it does, it doesn't stay. It looks like it. But hopefully we've got...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, at least not yet. You know, I'm look at those 4 sites I looked at. The lowest temperature I saw was about 31 degrees. So it's like right on the edge, you know, and that's the lowest. So during the day, it's getting up into the 40s still.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking at Colorado with the Colorado River watershed, and they're in a little worse in terms of temperatures. They're in the 10 to 13 degree above average for October. So.
Yeah. Even at Taos Powderhorn, yesterday the max temperature was 46. So, yeah, the average is 38.
Yeah.
And a week ago it was up to like 58.
Wow.
So yeah, it's still fairly warm, you know. And north of there, they went up by Costilla. The max temperature yesterday was 57.
Wow.
And it was almost 10 degrees higher about a week ago, so 67 or so. But it's still pretty warm during the day.
Yeah. Well, we haven't started cooling down yet, majorly. Hopefully get some storm tracks in, cool it down. All right, so any other questions for Chris? If not, we can move on to USGS with Anne Marie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
USGS report is for streamflow conditions for at this point, the entire 2015 water year. It goes from the beginning of October to the end of September. And we're reporting average stream flow as a cumulative average for the water year, and the percentages are a comparison to the cumulative average stream flow for the year for the period of record for each of those gauges. The gauges reported are 21 river basins that reflect relatively unmanaged flow in the state of New Mexico. And we're considering average as 90 to 110% of average, and below average less than 90%, and obviously above average greater than 110%. For the 2015 water year, October through September, 15 of the 21 state analysis were at or above average flow. The high was Poneal Creek near Cimarron, which had cumulative average of 594% of average, and that was primarily due to some really heavy rainstorms at the end of July and August. The low gauge was in the lower Pecos Basin, the Delaware River near Red Bluff, which had a low of about 58% of historic average. Median annual average for the 21 gauges was about 99% of historical average, so actually looking pretty good as an overall record. Looking at specific river basins, the San Juan River Basin is represented by the gauge on the Animas River at Farmington. That's at 107% of average. Upper Rio Grande tributaries are represented by numbers 7 through 12, 67 to 107% of average. Jemez River, number 13, is at 81% of average. And the Upper Rio Grande main stem, represented by the Rio Grande to Taos Junction Bridge, is at 94% of historical average. In the Canadian River Basin, the tributaries in Colfax County, numbers 1, 2, and 3, 82 to 594% of average. That includes the Poneal Creek gauge that I talked about earlier. The tributaries in Moore County, numbers 5 and 6, 93 to 99% of average. And the Canadian River main stem, number 4, about 10% of average. In the upper Pecos, we have 2 gauges in San Miguel County, numbers 14 and 15. Pecos River at Pecos and the Guyanas River at Montezuma. And these are at 102 and 114% of average, respectively. The lower Pecos in Otero and Eddy counties, numbers 16, 17, and 18. These gauges have stream flow conditions ranging from 58 to 121% of average. Last 2 gauges in the Gila Basin in Grant County are sites 20 and 21. The gauge on Mogollon Creek is at 109% of average, and the Gila River at Red Rock has conditions that are 85% of historical average. And that's all I have for this month, unless there are any questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Anne Marie. I was just looking at the Gila River, 180, they're at 183, 183 this month. So last month it was 83%. So although the Mogollon was 85 last month, that's down to 33. So looking good on the Gila River at Red Rock, but not so well at the Mogollon. Just an observation. Are any other questions for Anne Marie? Alrighty. Okay, so let's move on to the New Mexico Office of the State Engineer. Who's going to be presenting? Is it Julie or Molly? Molly? Okay. Great. Thanks, Molly.
All right, I got to call it up here.
Okay.
Not sure if that's it.
Great. Looks like it's up.
It's real sensitive.
That's passing me the mouse.
Yeah, see, it wants to do it. It's very, very sensitive.
You can go up to display settings at the top.
Yeah, do the full screen.
Yeah. And then click on the first thing.
Swap presenter. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead, Molly.
Thanks to Sean for straightening that out. So this is our standard report. We're going to show some schematics with reservoir levels around the state, what it looks like now, last month, last year, and long-term average. Whoops. Oh boy, it is.
Yeah.
So that's the legend. So the blue is the current, and then the dotted line is last month. So you can kind of get an idea of how it's changed. There's Navajo, not much change, a little above what it was last year. Ute, again, not a whole lot of difference. Santa Rosa, again, reflecting the last few years of good rain, I guess, right? Above average. And we could say the same for Sumner, like Raymond said, they've been doing fairly well on the Pecos. And Brantley. I guess you can see, he said they had taken all the water they needed to send it down to Texas, so they're not dealing with that little surplus anymore. So then Heron, well below, I think well below average. And Elevado, and below, the dotted line being last month. And then Abiquiu, kind of staying in there, not too much difference. And there's Elephant View, well below any average numbers. And Caballo also. So that southern part of the state is just the whole Rio Grande, but it's really evident in those southern reservoir levels. And this just has it in tabular form so you can compare the numbers. So that's it, unless anybody has any questions.
Well, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Molly.
Sure.
Yeah, I had talked to the Klimas group about their teacup reservoir storage, and I think they were gonna. I told them to get a hold of you guys to confirm because they compare to some conservation, either a storage capacity or a conservation capacity, and I think they were wanting to get some satisfactory numbers. So they may give you a call. I gave your number, Molly.
Okay.
Yeah. That's probably with either Ben McMahon or Mike Crimmins, one of those guys. Or Zach. Just give you a heads up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Because I think they had some comments about which numbers they were using for the reference capacities.
Yeah, that's the problem we've run across in the past too, is that, I think Brantley's a good example. It has lots of capacity, but is actually flood control, so
Right.
percent of full is a little misleading.
Right. So I think we should all come to an agreement on what numbers we should be using for our graphs and percents, especially when we give it out in a press release or a newspaper article. It's good to have something consistent.
Sure, I think that's a great idea.
Right, any other questions for Molly before we move on? Okay, let's move on to the New Mexico Department of Agriculture. I didn't hear either Les or Ryan on the call. Are you either of you on the call? Didn't think so. Okay. Did Chuck? Did you get anything from NMDA?
No, I did not.
Any crop reports? Okay. And I didn't. I wasn't prepared to give anything for that. So I'll go ahead and connect with either Les or Ryan after the call, and then if there's any major updates that we need to give, I'll email that out, and then we can put that up on the work group website.
Yes.
Alrighty. And following that, I did get an email from Susan this morning. And unless she's on now, didn't think so. She's not able to make the meeting, and Forestry will submit a report for next month. So they're going to catch up in November. So we can get their updates as well. And if there's, I'll call her after the call to see if there's anything that she needs to promote. And same with FSA, to see if we can get anything updates on that one. I know I said that last month. I didn't do anything, so my bad. I'll put that on my agenda for things to do. All right, so any other, am I forgetting anything in terms of discussion other than what we discussed and after Chuck's presentation on the drought monitor? Do you have any comments, Dave? If not, who's the author for next week? Did anybody know? For the drought monitor. Is it?
Good question, Dave. I think it's Brad Rippey this week. I'm going to guess it may be Brad again next week.
Okay. Alrighty. So we'll send
Yeah,
out.
they usually do 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll send out some comments on what we should look for. If not this week, maybe I don't know if they have which draft are they up to, but maybe for next week. Okay. All right. Any other topics for discussion? We still have a very active weather pattern right over the whole state. So we'll maybe see some changes. I really like seeing the 2-inch amounts over on the east side. We just need some over the rest of the area. Okay. All right. So Chuck, are you going to be around? I guess it depends on what day. I guess right for the November call. Either you or Brian.
One day we